Chapter 1. Dr. Angelo. Dr. Angelo was practically shoved into the secure conference room. Before the heavy steel door could even click shut behind him, he was already glaring at the assembled crowd. Captain Jared Stone, an Air Force commander, and 3 stone-faced military doctors. "What's with all the cloak and dagger?" Angelo snapped, checking his watch. "I was scheduled for a total knee at 3 and a hip at 5. My patients are waiting." "Your surgeries have been rescheduled with another attending, doctor. We needed you more," replied Lieutenant Anderson, stepping forward from the shadow of a massive, dark television monitor. "Who the hell are you and why am I here?" Angelo's patience was entirely gone. He wasn't a man used to being manhandled, let alone by the military. "I'm going to lay it all out and be entirely transparent," Anderson said, leaning against the long conference table. "We have recovered a crashed alien spacecraft. There were 5 occupants. 3 died on impact, and the remaining 2 are in critical condition. We need you to evaluate them and perform surgery immediately." Angelo stared at him. He waited for the punchline. When none came, he let out a dry laugh. "Why me? Do I look like I know anything about extraterrestrial physiology? We have CT scans, PET scans, and a full set of X-rays ready for you on our secure tablets," Anderson countered smoothly. "What about labs? Blood? Do they even have blood? I don't know what you expect me to do." "We expect you to do your best. No civilian surgeon has a track record like yours." "I'm not a veterinarian," Angelo said, turning toward the door. "I work on humans, only humans. Find someone else." "Who?" "Recommend someone, and we'll fetch them." "You can't expect me to drag another surgeon into a career-ending psych ward scenario. That is absurd." Anderson's stoic military facade cracked, just a fraction, revealing genuine desperation. "We don't know if the survivors will make it through the night, doctor, but it is imperative we try. All we ask is that you look at the specimens and do what you can." Angelo paused. "How do you plan on explaining this to my family? Where even are these specimens?" "Deep inside a secure mountain base. I am not at liberty to give you the exact coordinates, but we have a state-of-the-art surgical suite, access to any equipment or experimental drugs you request, and a fully vetted surgical staff. We just need your hands." "You have a base full of military doctors. Why aren't they doing it?" Anderson hesitated, looking toward Captain Stone before answering. "If things go sideways, we need plausible deniability." "What the fuck does that mean?" "In the event that this gets out, and a secret this big always leaks eventually, we need a civilian doctor to carry the weight of the failure. We can't have the blood of an interstellar diplomatic nightmare on our own medical corps." "Fuck you," Angelo said, reaching for the door handle. "I'm leaving." "Not so fast, doctor," Anderson snapped. The polite pleading vanished, replaced by ice. "You don't actually have a choice in the matter. If you had agreed, we would have proceeded under standard protocol. Since you're refusing, we have to move to level 2. Angelo froze. "And what is level 2? "To put it as lightly as I can, we kidnap you, transport you to the base, and force you to perform your patriotic duty." Angelo scoffed. "What, is this alien a communist? Is he from Russia? China? What do you mean by patriotic?" "In general, doctor, you know exactly what I mean. And if I still say no, you won't." Anderson signaled to the guards flanking the door. In a synchronized blur, they drew their sidearms and leveled them straight at Angelo's chest. Angelo flinched, throwing his hands up. "I can't fix your fucking alien if you kill me." "We have no intention of killing you. Those are tasers. Next-gen military ordnance. They'll just turn your nervous system off for an hour." Angelo's heart hammered against his ribs. "And my wife? What are you going to tell her when I don't show up for dinner?" "She is already en route to the secure location." The room went entirely cold. "You abducted her?" "We knew you wouldn't cooperate without her. Effective military planning," Anderson said, entirely remorseless. "Her transport should touch down by midnight." "Did you tase her too?" Angelo's voice shook with pure rage. "Yes, actually, we did," Anderson replied casually. "Strapped her to a gurney, loaded her into an ambulance, transferred her to the tarmac, and airlifted her out. We're wasting time, doctor. If you don't walk out to the helipad yourself, we will tase you, strap you down next, and throw you in the back of the medical chopper waiting outside." Chapter 2. Edmonds Underground Airport Base. Dr. Angelo woke up to the smell of antiseptic and the harsh glare of fluorescent lights. He tried to move his arms, but he was bound tight. They had strapped him down like Hannibal Lecter, complete with a heavy face mask, and a canvas straitjacket, ensuring he couldn't thrash during the flight into the heart of the Colorado mountain. A nurse and a burly military guard unbuckled him, guiding his sluggish, sedated body into a chair at a metal briefing table. "Where am I?" Angelo muttered, rubbing his throbbing temples. "That is classified, Doctor," a tall, impeccably groomed officer said, stepping into his line of sight. "I am Commander Decker. I am overseeing the crash recovery site. You will report directly to me. For now, study the monitor on the table." Angelo squinted at the screen, blinking away the lingering haze of the military-grade sedative. The images on display were a radiology nightmare. This thing doesn't have lungs, or a heart, and it has 4 upper extremities. Are those arms? What about the other survivor? "Didn't make it," Decker replied flatly. "Are you even sure this one is injured? Did you try speaking to it?" Decker scoffed. "Of course not. It's an alien." "Then maybe you should have kidnapped a linguist instead of an orthopedic surgeon," Angelo muttered, leaning closer to the scans. "I see nothing wrong with its anatomy. No fractures, no structural deformities. Is it leaking fluid?" Decker looked over at the nurse, who simply shrugged. "Inconclusive at this point," the commander admitted. Angelo pointed a finger at the live camera feed of the holding cell. "I see you put an oxygen mask on it. Are you certain it even breathes oxygen? If it's not from Earth, it likely doesn't require our atmospheric mix. For all you know, it doesn't breathe at all. You might be suffocating it." Decker's jaw clenched, his annoyance flaring. "And that is why you are here. I'm surprised you haven't killed it already through sheer, unadulterated negligence." Angelo pushed his chair back. "What do I recommend? Let me and my wife go, and then you can finish murdering this thing on your own. Would you like to perform a physical examination and assess the creature, Doctor?" Decker asked, ignoring the jab. "Do I have a choice?" "No." "By whose authority?" "The President of the United States." Angelo leaned forward, catching the commander's eye. "Is the President actually aware you have an interstellar craft on a slab?" Decker didn't blink. "He has not been informed. Then you are a fucking liar. I want out." "We require plausible deniability, Doctor. The Commander-in-Chief cannot know every operational detail. I am his surrogate in this sector." "And if I refuse to walk into that exam room, what then? Another taser?" Decker's voice dropped to a menacing whisper. "If you refuse, you will face immediate charges of treason and insubordination. You'll look at a mandatory sentence of 20 years in a federal penitentiary, no parole." "And what if I blab to my fellow inmates that Uncle Sam is hiding a 4-armed Martian?" Angelo challenged. "Maybe they'll get you a guest spot on Ancient Aliens, but otherwise, I wouldn't worry about it," Decker stated coldly. "The prison is just as classified as this base." Angelo stared at him for a long beat. "Fine, but in the meantime your alien is going to wake up and want to know what you did with his ship. Get a linguist, I'm telling you." 10 minutes later, Angelo was standing in the scrubbing anteroom. The wardrobe choices were miserable, pale blue or pale green, because the walls and floors were lined with sterile, pale blue tiles. Angelo aggressively pulled on the pale green scrubs. He wanted to make sure he stood out against their dismal military color palette. Taking a deep, stabilizing breath, Angelo braced himself for a brush with the cosmic unknown and pushed through the double doors into the examination room. He stopped dead in his tracks. The alien wasn't lying on the table. It was sitting upright on the edge of the stainless steel slab, its thick, elongated lower legs dangling a few inches above the floor. Its 4 upper limbs were folded neatly across its hairless, mottled gray torso. Angelo slowly turned his head toward the nurse, who was frozen by the sink. Did you see it transfer itself from the gurney?" "No," the nurse whispered, her eyes wide with terror. "I turned around to grab a tray, and he was just sitting there." "Did it make any vocalizations?" "Yeah," the nurse swallowed hard. "He said, 'Fuck, my knee hurts,' and asked if we had any painkillers." Angelo's brain short-circuited. He looked from the nurse to the gray, lungless creature. Painkillers? Did he happen to specify a flavor? The alien's large, multifaceted eyes shifted, locking onto the doctor. Its mouth, a strange horizontal slit, moved in perfect sync with a deep, weary voice. "I'd take some Norco if you got it, man." Angelo stood frozen, his medical training entirely useless. I don't think I have prescription privileges in this particular facility," he stammered like a broken record, his mind completely unable to process the reality of the situation. Suddenly, Decker's voice boomed over the overhead intercom, sounding just as stunned. "You have whatever privileges you want, Doctor. If you want a painkiller, write the script. Fill it at the pharmacy immediately." Angelo cleared his throat, taking a cautious step toward the table. I looked at your x-rays. I didn't see anything indicating an acute orthopedic injury. I banged my lateral joint right against the control console when we hit the atmosphere, the alien grumbled, rubbing one of its lower joints with two of its hands. I heard a distinct snap. I knew right then I'd busted something. Angelo pulled a digital tablet toward him, his hand shaking slightly. Can I get a name for the medical chart? Yeah, Federico Vallicula, with 2 L's. Angelo blinked. That is not what I anticipated for an extraterrestrial designation. I was born and raised in Argentina, Doc, Federico explained, sighing. My dad ran a taco stand in Buenos Aires, and my mother did babysit on the side. Are your parents like you? Oh. Hell no. I was adopted through Catholic Social Services. Never met my biological folks, Federico said. That explains your perfect English, Angelo muttered, trying to find a thread of logic to cling to. I'm speaking perfect alien, Federico corrected him, looking confused. I have absolutely no idea how to speak English. Then how am I understanding you? I don't know, man. I can see your lips, Angelo said, stepping closer, the scientist in him temporarily overriding his fear. They are explicitly forming human phonetic words. How are you understanding me? I don't know what to tell you. My adoptive parents both spoke Portuguese at home, so this is all weird to me too. There must be some sort of atmospheric or telepathic universal translation field in here, Angelo murmured, glancing up at the observation glass. Either that or Google is listening in and doing a phenomenal job with live translation. In any case, what can I do for your knee besides narcotics that might accidentally stop your alien physiology? Fine, just give me some acetaminophen, Federico said, waving a pair of hands dismissively. I took that all the time growing up whenever I had a fever, and I survived. Angelo turned to the shell-shocked nurse. Nurse, get him 1,000 milligrams of acetaminophen, BID and PRN. Federico slumped his shoulders in relief, his forearms relaxing. Thanks, Doc. I really appreciate you helping a guy out.